Hello learners, welcome to the next section, Database Development and Assessment. In this section, we will cover the practice of database assessment. Now we move to the first video, Statistical Assessment. Here we will look at the workflow. Merriam-Webster defines assessment as the action or an instance of making a judgment about something. We need to keep a few pointers in mind for statistical assessment. They are objectives. With that in mind, to be able to make a reasonable assessment, that is, make a judgment on something, one must first have a set of objectives. Assessment objectives help the data scientist determine how to assess data, a database, or a statistical data model. Next one is baselines. Based on your set objective standards, minimum acceptable performance, or a baseline to establish an opinion on what is being assessed need to be established. Although we won't spend any significant time here on the process of database assessment, we will mention the use of specific measures of performance. Data scientists will frequently use very specific metrics when evaluating the predictive accuracy of a statistical model. These metrics depend on the class or type of the problem being assessed, and require one to use slightly different ways of assessing the model's performance. This approach also survives as a rule to assess standard, non-statistical data and databases. Then comes planning for assessment. Just as the type of non-statistical database would determine what tests would be used to perform an assessment, so would the type of statistical model dictate the appropriate assessment techniques or methods a data scientist would use to assess a statistical model. Once you have set the objectives for an assessment and established a baseline, an execution plan is developed. The plan typically outlines the entire process to be performed. The plan will list the tests to be performed, along with the test objectives, baselines to be compared to, and even expected outcomes. Post that comes evaluation. In statistics, the term performance is usually interchangeably with the idea of a model's accuracy. When speaking about a non-statistical database or model, performance is perhaps all about speed, how long it takes for a query to return values, how long it takes to commit a transaction, and so on, and accuracy, and usually revolves around the idea of quality assurance, not an ability to predict values. Finally, once completed, the results of both a database and statistical data model assessment typically will be visualized in various ways for easier evaluation using commonly accepted methods. To summarize, the process of performing a database or statistical data model assessment is, in a broad sense, similar in that both require the following: set objectives of the database or data model, establish baselines to compare performances to, determine the plan to carry out the assessment, and evaluate the results.